Cynthia Howard, Ward 2. I had my hand up several times and I wasn't called upon. Okay, thank you. This budget, we're not being able to be voted on for full-day kindergarten. You know, it's not our choice. It's being forced upon us. And I don't think it's right. I think it should have been in a separate warrant article so that we would have a choice. And a lot of things in this city are being forced upon us, and that's not fair at all. And as far as the budget figures that Middleton presented, the CPI is somewhere around 0.3%, so it's much higher than the CPI. The budget is constantly growing every year, more than the CPI. And New Hampshire Department of Education data, if you can check it out, I urge anyone in this room to check it out, that our academic level in Claremont is much lower than the state of New Hampshire for reading, writing, or math. We are way below the state standards in proficiency, above proficiency, and proficiency with distinction. So that has to change. How can we afford to spend $31 million and not have a quality product? We're not producing a good product in Claremont. And New Hampshire Employment Security data further states that why we have a $31.1 million budget is because the Claremont School District is the #1 employer in Claremont. Now in Newport it's Sturm Ruger. In Charlestown it's Wheeling Engineering. But in Claremont we have a bloated budget. We're continuously hiring more people, and the taxpayers of Claremont cannot afford any more. They really can't. And if we had an industry in here, you know, it wouldn't be supported by taxpayers. So there's a big difference between public and private. I think we're a little confused here. We think that the public sector is supposed to handle more employees and we're supposed to pay more taxes. And our tax rate is going up. No matter what you say about spending, the tax rate is still going up. And yet you're losing revenue. Well, you know what? You have to cut back when you lose revenue. That's pretty simple. And as far as full-day kindergarten, there are a lot of disadvantages of full-day kindergarten. One being the time that a child spends in the classroom. A child spends many hours. Probably a half-day program, not sure. It's around 2.5 hours a day. In full-time, it may be 6 hours a day. So their attention span will be much, much harder on them because they're younger children. As far as them not being mature enough, some of the children will rest, they'll take naps, so we won't be getting our money's worth. And these are sources of data that have been compiled across the country, you know, not just locally. So there are a lot of disadvantages as well as advantages of what other people have said. You know, it's not always one way. It's not always going to be perfect. As far as U.S. News and World Report also reported that the ranking of Stevens High School is, we have a ranking of 79 public high schools in the state of New Hampshire, and Stevens High School ranks 73 among those 79. So we're not doing the job that we're supposed to be doing. And throwing money at the situation is not going to make it any better, and probably it's going to make it worse because you're going to have more and more people, more bureaucracy instead of less. And sometimes limited and less is a lot better than more. Thank you.
Thank you.